Today on LA Currents, celebrations for Latino Heritage Month kick off with a battle cry. El Grito, the beginning of Mexican independence, is also the start of the month of festivities, highlighting cherished traditions and honoring all that Latino culture brings to the city of LA. Later on LA Currents, Detective Lisette Garcia of the Los Angeles Police Department speaks about the recently formed Organized Retail Crime Task Force. The multi-agency force is determined to bring justice to bear on every aspect of these criminal attacks on retail businesses. But to start, El Pueblo Historical Monument, known as the birthplace of LA, is not only a repository of history, it also functions as a gathering place in the manner of the placita. Arturo Chavez of El Pueblo Historical Monument spoke with our Natalia Bilbao about the significance of the plaza for many Latinos and how this area at the heart of the city can continue to grow in the future.
Founded in 1781, El Pueblo de la Reina de Los Angeles became the second civil settlement in Alta California. Now, El Pueblo is an area where different events, celebrations, and community meetups take place, cementing LA's diverse nature. Joining me today to discuss its evolution and current significance is Arturo Chavez, General Manager at El Pueblo Historic Monument. Thank you so much for being here, Arturo.
Thank you, Natalia.
So tell me, I know El Pueblo is described as the heart of Los Angeles, but what does it mean to you specifically?
Well, it's actually the heart of Los Angeles, but the birthplace of Los Angeles. So what does it mean is that this is where the city grew. This is where the city started, and this is where the city has expanded, as you can see how big we are as the city of Los Angeles now. But this was the original place that the city was founded.
And I know you've been working in public service for quite a few years. What drew you to El Pueblo specifically?
Well, interestingly enough, I'm an immigrant, born in Juarez, and when I was just a little child is that we came on the train from Juarez, and the first thing we saw was El Pueblo.
That's great. So, as an immigrant who then lives in Los Angeles and soaks in the culture and the diversity and the colors, how do you think the significance of El Pueblo has sort of evolved for the Hispanic community specifically?
El Pueblo is, like a plaza, right? Mm-hmm. In any country that you go in Mexico or even in south of the border, right? Any of the Central American countries, there's a plaza, there's a placita. Which is called, right? Mm-hmm. And that's where people gather at night. That's where people gather throughout the day. They shop, they eat, they meet boyfriends and girlfriends, they turn around and those activities, it's what brings people back, right? Because they're familiar with that, right? And that's where people are so attracted to it because it brings back memories of your hometowns.
I'm curious to know as well, what other things do you think are significant about El Pueblo at large?
The significance is that it shows the cultural diversity of the city.
Right.
We have a plaque there that has the 44 original pobladores, right? Mm-hmm. And many of those were indigenous, many of those were African American. And so what ends up happening is that it shows the differences of people coming together to build a city, right, during that period of time. Mm-hmm. We also have 8 museums on site. We have the oldest house in the city of Los Angeles, the Casa Avila, mm-hmm. which is the oldest house standing, right, in the city mm-hmm. of Los Angeles. And it's a museum and it shows and depicts exactly what life was like in those times, right? We also have the Siqueiros mural, which was built in 1932. It was actually painted. It was whitewashed the day after its announcement. We've preserved that. Yeah, we've mm-hmm. preserved that through grants from the Getty. So with that, right, we also have the Chinese American Museum there.
Yep. And
we also have the Italian American Museum, which are both housed at El Pueblo, both housed on what people call Vera Street or La Placita.
I love though that it's not just a center. Everybody associates it with Hispanic culture, but you're saying it's not just Hispanic culture. It extends to all the other almost communities that are part of Los Angeles. But since we're celebrating Hispanic heritage, what are the things that you've been focusing on this year?
Well, we kick off this, Hispanic Heritage with the 16th of September, right? And so mm-hmm. the 16th of September, we have recognized the Grito, which is the independence of Mexico, mm-hmm. right? On the 15th, it's celebrated on the 16th. We typically have celebrations there every year, and we've done that. But we also have a lot of cultural events that are sponsored mm-hmm. Through the department and through the Vera Street Merchants Association Foundation, or as we call it, OSMOF. Mm-hmm. OSMOF does about 5 cultural events a year, and these include this month, actually, coming in. As soon as we come off the Hispanic Heritage Month, we start coming into the Day of the Dead, or Dia de los Muertos as it's known. We just had that kickoff on the 7th when we had the Catrina exhibit by Lily La Catrina, and we had the art walk, what they call the Muertos Art Walk. We'll have the 5K Muertos Run, which is coming up too. And then we have from the 25th of October through the 2nd of November, the Day of the Dead celebrations, culminating on the 2nd, right? With entertainment, plays, and blessings, a combination of various indigenous cultures as well as the Catholic cultures that are there and other things that are there. And so what we do is we have these celebrations every day, every night, and then there's a procession that goes down Olvera Street, and then entertainment that goes on through the evening. Then that goes through to the Posadas, of course, right? Which is another so many days that we do the same thing. We run through all these things through December, and then we go through our biggest thing, which is the blessing of the animals. So it instills a culture, right, and maintains a cultural awareness for most people in the city, for the foundation of the city of Los Angeles, and in particular with a lot of the Mexican culture, because we were part of Mexico for quite some time. We have a lot of the history there. We have the 3-story building that's the Pico House. That was the first 3-story hotel in the city of Los Angeles. That was built by Pio Pico, who was the last Mexican governor of the state of California. And so, we have a lot of that history, but we share that history with everyone else. But since we're in Hispanic Heritage Month, we should be talking about the culture that happens.
We need to highlight it. Hoy me acompaña Arturo Chavez, que es el director general del Monumento Histórico del Pueblo, para conversar acerca de su evolución y significado para la ciudad de Los Ángeles. Gracias, Arturo. Ya sé que la siguiente pregunta va a ser complicada de contestar porque es como decir quién es tu hijo favorito, pero ¿cuál es tu celebración favorita del pueblo?
Para mí el Día de los Muertos, porque es una cosa que es más orgánico. 35 años la calle de Olvera ha tenido esta celebración. Wow. 35 años.
Ininterrumpidos.
Interrumpidos en el sentido de que cada año tienen esta celebración, tienen los altares que se ponen que son muy original, no son gran, pero son orgánicos por las personas que están ahí, y una celebración de la vida. Entonces, ese evento, como han dicho anteriormente, es pre-Coco,
sí.
Que la película, que todo el mundo después de eso empezaron con las cuestiones del Día de los Muertos. Pero esto es un lugar original, donde nació, o sea, seguida, porque es un evento cultural que se celebra en México. Entonces, eso por esa parte es importante que la gente viene a ver, no lo comercial, pero lo original y lo verdadero de los Días de los Muertos.
Sí, como lo genuino, lo auténtico, ¿no? Y eso es lo bonito del pueblo también, creo, ¿no? Que es como que ha preservado esa identidad tan genuina, esas raíces realmente, y no ha sido como comercializado, como que es súper auténtico y original. Bueno, además que es considerado un monumento histórico. ¿Y qué significa eso de que el pueblo sea monumento histórico?
Importante en la ciudad de Los Ángeles. ¿Por qué? Porque lo que pasa es que tenemos edificios que son muy antiguos, ¿verdad? Y el desarrollo de la ciudad ha destruido muchos edificios que son históricos. Entonces, la preservación y la manera de que notamos a todos los edificios que son históricos es importante. Y en este momento estamos con un plan que se llama
Un plan maestro.
Maestro, que da una idea de qué se puede hacer con participación de comunidad, con participación de las personas que están ahí, para desarrollar qué se puede hacer, qué se puede tocar, qué no se puede tocar, qué se puede ampliar, qué no se puede ampliar, que es una manera de conectar el centro cívico con el pueblo también. Todas estas discusiones y pláticas tienen que tomar a cabo. Obviamente se tiene que ver para tener un plan más claro de cómo se puede desarrollar más y no cambiar, porque mucha gente piensa que van a cambiar, pero lo que va a pasar es de cómo se va a preservar y cómo se va a ampliar. Y eso es importante en este tiempo.
Y hablabas mucho, Arturo, de comunidad, que es importante que la comunidad participe. Justamente, ¿cuál es la mejor manera de que la comunidad se mantenga informada y participe de todos los eventos del pueblo?
Tenemos una página de web, estamos en las redes sociales, estamos en Instagram, estamos en Facebook, y también estamos en una red social del sitio, ¿verdad? Que es el Pueblo de Los Ángeles movimiento historial. Lo que pasa es de que hay mucha gente que tiene otras cosas que se llama Olvera Street, nosotros no tenemos eso. Nosotros tenemos el nombre muy grande, pero un departamento muy pequeño, pero un lugar muy importante. Y eso es el Monumento Histórico de Los Ángeles.
Well, thank you so much, Arturo, for talking with us today about the history and evolution of El Pueblo de Los Ángeles. Gracias, Arturo, por conversar con nosotros acerca de la historia y evolución del Pueblo de Los Ángeles.
Oh, gracias, Natalia. Thank you, Natalia.
El Grito was literally a rallying cry for Mexico, and this year's El Grito event rallied all to the steps of LA's City Hall. Hosted by Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez, this was a commemoration, an acknowledgement of the wealth of contributions of Mexicans to LA, and a fiesta for all to enjoy.
It's a great day. We are here behind City Hall celebrating El Grito.
Give her a big round of applause, Councilwoman Mónica Rodríguez. Bienvenidos, familia. Yo soy su concejal Mónica Rodríguez y es un placer. Soy la madrina de El Grito y es muy especial. Soy muy orgullosa a la comunidad latina aquí en Los Ángeles porque somos Los Ángeles. I'm really excited to be able to have this event here again in Grant Park, to make it bigger than anyone ever expects it to be, because that's what the community deserves.
Hoy tendrás de mí todo lo que tú quieras. Eso. Por amor te quiero. Hoy te quiero. Por amor te espero. Te sueño. Por amor te sueño. Aún te sueño. Por amor te entrego. Por amor te quiero. Como te quiero. Por amor te espero. Mi dulce tormento. Por amor te sueño. Mi pasión, locura. Por amor te entrego. Mi rayito de luna.
¡Viva México! I am so proud to be here to celebrate El Grito. I know that it is the beginning, the celebration of the beginning of the War of Independence in Mexico. And there is a saying that we have somewhere in the community that says, people didn't cross the border crossed the people. Because this was Mexico.
So I want to thank you for coming out tonight to celebrate El Grito Los Angeles style. ¡Viva México!
Shout out to Central America, shout out to Honduras, shout out to El Salvador, shout out to Guatemala. I know we are not Mexican, but we stand in solidarity with our Mexicans, and I love to have fun and say, "What?"
Ay, arriba y arriba y arribaré. Yo no creo en fronteras. Yo no creo en fronteras. Yo cruzaré, yo cruzaré, yo cruzaré. Hola, chiquita.
Celebrating independence is about cultural preservation, self-determination, and freedom. Those of us of Mexican descent are very proud of our history and our culture.
¡Familia! ¡Manda machos!
Me voy y un día regresaré. Verás que con el tiempo de ti me olvidaré. Me voy y un día regresaré. Verás que con el tiempo de ti me olvidaré. La culpa de sentir tampoco mía es. Si no enfrento la culpa, entonces de quién es. Que dudaste de mí sin consideración. Quieres jugar conmigo al gato y al gato.
Being able to celebrate in the biggest city on the West Coast. For the community, it's a sense of belonging, knowing that we have so many Latinos here in the city of Los Angeles.
I honestly feel like I'm home. I'm like, woo, I'm ready. Like, this is connection to me. This is having fun with my community.
También siento que ahorita que estamos aquí nos hace sentir como estuviéramos en México, ¿verdad?
We have banda machos behind us, just enjoying it. It's the called Celebrating Life and Culture. And I truly believe if you do not dance, if you do not sing, you do not live.
This city is the most diverse, vibrant community I've ever lived in. You can build your own way, you can find your own path, and it's a pleasure to be here.
I am honored to be a part of this celebration. This is my first one, but it will not be my last.
¡Viva México! ¡Viva! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva!
After going through the pandemic, I think it's great that the city's able to come back and have the El Grito program back on the steps of City Hall. So my two daughters can know what the culture and the food and the music of Mexico brings to the city of Los Angeles.
I'm just very happy that they're celebrating Mexican Independence Day.
It's great to be out here after COVID, you know? It's part of who we are. We love to celebrate life.
Celebrating Independence Day.
¡Viva México!
Recordar las tradiciones de México, ¿verdad? Este sombrero pues es lo que usaban los indios allá en México y pues fueron los que pelearon en la batalla, ¿verdad? Para dar el grito de independencia. Estuvieron ellos participando de eso.
So often, our communities have to leave tradition behind when we come to this country. Well, not in Los Angeles. We preserve and hold tightly, like we do our family, these incredible traditions.
Este torito que traigo no es pinto ni es colorado, no es pinto ni es colorado. Este torito que traigo es un torito barboso de los pueblos recortados. Este torito que traigo no es pinto ni es colorado. Lázalo, que se te va. Échame los brazos de alma si me tienes voluntad.
And this is what's really great about Los Angeles. This is an embracing and a celebration of all of our history. And I think it's really important for us to continue to celebrate that here in the City of Angels.
Por petróleo el hombre mata, volviéndolo un criminal, volviéndolo un animal. Sí, señor.
We are a city of immigrants. We understand solidarity. When people come here, we welcome them. We make sure, I don't care what's going on in the rest of the country. This is Los Angeles, this is California. We know who we are, and I am so proud to stand in solidarity with the people of Mexico and to celebrate El Grito.
We share an experience, which is the experience of immigrants coming and chasing the American dream.
It brings us together. It reminds us that we are all Angelinos, that we are all in this together, but also to celebrate the joy that is Los Angeles.
We need to break down those barriers that historically divide us, because together we are stronger, together we are one Los Angeles.
Me voy, y un día regresaré, verás que con el tiempo de ti no olvidaré. Me voy, y un día regresaré, verás que con el tiempo de ti me olvidaré. La culpa de ese país tampoco es mía, es siempre tú la culpa, entonces ¿de quién es? Te burlaste de mí, sin consideración, quieres jugar conmigo. ¡Viva México! ¡Viva México! ¡Viva México!
have a wonderful time this evening and all month.
When organized retail crime was on the rise, LA's police department joined with other law enforcement agencies to form the Organized Retail Crime Task Force. As LAPD Detective Lisette Garcia tells Natalia Bilbao, the multi-agency approach is targeting all facets of this crime and is already responsible for taking perpetrators off the streets.
California, and Los Angeles in particular, has seen an increase in organized retail theft. With us today is Detective Lisette Garcia from the Organized Retail Crime Task Force. Thank you so much for being here, Detective.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the basic. What do you think is the reason for the increase of this type of crime in Los Angeles?
I think a lot has to do with social media, showing how easy it is for this flash rob group of people to go into an actual business and take property without being stopped. A lot of the times they're not being charged with felony crimes, so that has a lot to do with it as well, as the consequences are lacking and it's easily sold in the street. So there is a demand for it.
When and why was a dedicated multi-agency task force for organized retail crimes created?
It was created on August 21st of this year, and it was created because there is an increase in crime. It's not just here in California, it's across the United States. And unfortunately, the retailers are being hit in the pocketbook. They're not recuperating the merchandise that's being stolen. It's being sold, on the black market, out there in the streets. And we're getting a lot of businesses that are leaving different states because of it. So we were able to get some money from the governor that is only established for this task force. So it's going to allow us to buy different kind of equipment that's going to help us do surveillance, pay for additional officers. Our task force right now has Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. We have Glendale PD, Burbank PD, Beverly Hills PD, along with Los Angeles police officers and detectives that are dedicated only into actually working this task force. As of today's date, we have about 73 arrests that we've already done since August.
Since August, wow.
Yes, we've recovered guns, we've recovered merchandise, and a lot of people are sitting in jail right now. And we're not just going after the people who are going into the stores and stealing the merchandise, we're going after the people who are selling it as well.
And so what products are they looking for? Because one would think, I would think, well, they're looking for high value, like jewelry, but sometimes it's like detergent or things that are
shampoos, detergents, anything that there's
products.
a market for. Sunglasses, clothing, bras, panties, colognes, perfumes, shoes. Shoes are a big one.
So is it more quantity over quality, or it kind of depends?
I guess it depends. It depends on what they can grab. I mean, if they get a little bit of resistance in a store, they won't grab as much. If the employees are just going to stand back and let it happen, they literally take garbage bags with them and fill them up.
I know that employees are told not to try to chase them, but what about security personnel?
Same thing.
Same thing.
Yep.
So if it's within the store, yes, the moment they leave the store, is that when it's...
They're not even intercepting at all. So they can go in, they can grab their things. The employees are told to stand back, record if they can, just watch, call 911, and then they will go in and take their stuff and leave. Security sometimes will follow at a distance and also take video and see if they're going to go out in a vehicle and take down that information so they can provide that to the police department.
Right when the task force was created, more than 30 masked robbers stole over $100,000 worth of goods in a high-end shopping center in the Valley. So what happened, and how did the task force respond in this case?
They responded in force. So there's a lot of detectives working on that case. To this date, we've made numerous arrests in those 30 people. I can't say exactly how many, but we have made arrests and we have recovered merchandise as well. So they went out there and they did a lot of follow-up investigation. They got a lot of good video surveillance. The arrests were fruitful. We've gotten a lot of information from the people we arrested, and that has actually led us to other investigations on where some of those items were sold.
I'm curious because it sounds, obviously it's organized.
It's
there's
very
a
organized.
sense of structure in these type of crimes. So do you think it's mainly gangs or criminal organizations, or is it people who sort of like act alone? What are your findings?
So we're not finding that there's, in particular, a gang that's involved, but it's just, it could be anywhere like a group of friends that are organizing it. One will call up another and say, hey, we're gonna hit the Macy's and we're gonna do this on this date. Let's meet at this time. As easy as that. They're organizing it. You have one person organizing it and a group of friends that are in on it. They're like, sure, let's go do it. A lot of the times since I've been there, it's been basically that. It's just been a group of friends, a group of people who know each other that just want to go out and steal what they can.
Right. Like it's
even
not...
like social media, they can say,
I was
hey,
going to ask you about
we're going to
that.
just post on social media, hey, we're going to hit this store at this time. Whoever shows up, let's go for it.
Wow.
And then
so they publicize
the
it
power
even.
of
It's
social
almost
media
like
is going to go out there and cause people to go and do this.
And what do you hope the task force and other protective measures will achieve?
Well, our goal is to reduce the crime. Obviously, we don't want this to continue to rise. We have seen a drop in it since we've started the task force, so that's encouraging.
Ok, perfecto. Bueno, nos acompaña la detective Lizeth García de la División de Homicidios por Robo del Departamento de Policía de Los Ángeles, quien también es miembro de un grupo dedicado a combatir crímenes comerciales organizados. Gracias por estar aquí, detective.
Gracias.
Bueno, cuéntame, ¿en qué consiste un robo comercial organizado?
Un robo comercial organizado es cuando un crimen ocurre en un negocio, a donde personas entran en el negocio para robar mercancía.
¿Y a qué cree que se debe el aumento de este tipo de crímenes aquí en Los Ángeles?
Porque es fácil. Ahorita la gente mira mucho social media, en el internet, cuando nos ponen, oh, vamos a estar en este lugar, si gustan participar en este crimen, vengan. Y hay gente que mira eso y van y participan en este tipo de crimen. Es fácil de vender la mercancía en la calle y ese es dinero en la bolsillo de la persona del crimen. So, por eso está ahorita subiendo ese tipo de crimen.
¿Y han identificado un prototipo de persona que es la que está detrás de los crímenes?
No, ahorita de todos están participando. Hay jóvenes hasta de 15 años hasta adultos de 34 años. De diferentes, son afroamericanos, mexicanos, americanos, todo, hombres, mujeres, los que le hacen fácil para ir a robar, roban.
Y imaginémonos, detective, que vamos a entrar a una tienda y de pronto somos víctima de un robo organizado.
Sí.
¿Qué es lo que usted recomienda que tanto los dueños como los usuarios hagan para protegerse?
Léjanse de ese lugar, si pueden. No se ponen en la dirección a donde están los sospechosos porque hasta te pueden tumbar, te pueden lastimar. Es mejor que se alejan, llaman a 911 o tratan de salir a hacer 911 si está seguro, saca fotos con su cámara, video, para cuando llegue la policía podemos ir a investigar un poco más si tenemos más información.
Y bueno, ¿cuáles han sido los logros hasta ahora en este poquito tiempo del grupo dedicado?
De bajar todo.
Los logros que han tenido, tuvieron como 73 arrestos, ¿no?
73,
sí, o sea que ya en el poquito tiempo que llevan.
73 arrestos ahorita por este día. Y también hemos encontrado diferentes armas. Hay diferentes armas que ya no están en la calle y diferente mercancía que estaba robado también lo tenemos ya.
Así que bueno, ¿qué espera que logre ese grupo dedicado del que forma parte, además de otras medidas protectoras?
Para reducir este tipo de crimen. Eso es el único que queremos ahorita, es de reducirlo muchísimo para que ya no está ocurriendo.
Gracias, detective García. Soy Natalia Bilbao para LA Currents. Gracias por vernos.